In 1935, Cleveland sinks into a cold rain that washes away every last shred of human hope. I was called out to see something waiting deep in the mud of Kingsbury Run, longing for its final discovery. Arriving there, I see pale faces that already reveal just how terrible the find down below must truly be. What lies there in burlap lacks all humanity and makes even my own blood freeze within my tired old veins. Looking around, it is clear why the roar of the trains provides the perfect grave for these nameless souls. My badge glints in the pale light as the mission from Elliot Ness weighs heavier than anything else on me. The path leads us to the heart of misery, where 1,000 eyes of silent mistrust watch from the tents. Ness feels the breath of the press on his neck and knows that time is slipping through our fingers like sand. Fear in the city grows with every new headline as the butcher continues his grisly work in the dark shadows. In the cool light of the morgue, we search for answers that the cold flesh still stubbornly hides from us. The precision of the cuts leaves no doubt that someone with surgical knowledge was at work here this time. We wonder with every look at the scalpel if we hunt a doctor or a monster without any hint of a conscience. A tiny fiber under the glass is all that remains of this beast, and it must lead us out of this nightmare. In the dark alleys of the night, I feel the eyes watching me from the absolute shadows of the urban abyss. We raid the slaughterhouses, but the blood on the hands of the men belongs only to the animals they cut. On my map, the red pins stretch like a trail of madness across the entire neighborhood and into the dark. Lake Erie remains silent and swallows all sins as the water washes away the last traces of the cold horror. A lost item in the dirt leads me to thoughts that a normal mind can hardly bear to endure for much longer. The hunt through the foggy maze of shacks makes the line between hunter and hunted blur into nothingness. In the void of the old factory, we find only tools that tell of a painful end for the anonymous victims. The burning Hooverville is the last desperate act of a power that has long since lost all real control. As the smoke envelops everything, people pass us like silent ghosts. Ness realizes in the silence of his office that this phantom is always a crucial step ahead of all of us. These plaster masks keep the secret of their identity and stare at us from their hollow sockets in silence. The mocking words in his message burn deep into my memory and challenge us with their cruel, dark tone. We descend into the city's stinking underworld to face the beast where the daylight finally fades away. In a dark cellar we find his tracks, but the table is already empty, and the cold air fills the small room. With the dull slam of the archive door, the hunt for a killer who remains an unsolved mystery ends forever. Los Angeles, summer '85. The city was burning, but this heat was by far not our biggest problem. In the middle of the night, the radio ripped me from my sleep. A brutal, double murder. At the crime scene, the same picture. The blood on the carpet was still fresh. He took his time with his crimes. A red pentagram on the wall. He was playing with us. He wanted this city to choke on pure panic, robbery, rape, murder. No recognizable pattern. Our only real lead was a rare size 11.5 Avius sneaker he left at every crime scene. We called him the walk-in killer. The press quickly found a much better name, the Night Stalker. A brave survivor told us about his rotting teeth, and about this bestial stench of death. The whole city went crazy. Security locks were sold out everywhere. People slept armed. Then the fatal mistake. The politicians blabbed our knowledge about the rare shoe prints on television. Now he knew exactly what we knew. We were sure he would destroy those telltale shoes. His answer was even more brutality. It seemed as if he wanted to punish us extra for this mistake. An absolute slaughterhouse. But in the soft dirt under the window, we found it again. The Avia print. We turned over literally every stone in LA, questioned every informant. But the phantom remained invisible. Night after night we pulled over hundreds of suspects. We were completely in the dark, just endless dead ends. Then the redeeming call. "We have the car," the voice said. An observant witness had come forward. There it stood in a dusty side street. An old, abandoned Toyota. The key to our killer. Forensics literally drowned the ride in graphite powder. He had to have made a mistake. There it actually was. A clear thumbprint on the mirror. That was finally his ticket straight to hell. Hours of waiting and agonizing in front of the flickering monitor followed. The printer spit out the photo. Richard Ramirez, a petty criminal. The phantom now had a face. We finally knew who this devil was, but he sensed the heat and had long since gone underground. We went straight to the public. His mugshot was immediately flickering across every TV screen. The phones at the precinct rang off the hook. He was recognized at a convenience store in East LA Vigilante Justice. We headed straight there. When we arrived, he was already running for his life. I floored the gas pedal and jerked the steering wheel around. We jumped out of the car and chased him through narrow alleys. But we weren't the only hunters on the scene. The residents had long since surrounded him and forced him into the middle. The angry mob almost lynched him. We saved him from the mob, only to put him on death row. And he looked at us and just grinned. Summer night 1968, a dark path. Silence is suddenly shattered by gunshots and screams. The shattered window reveals seats already completely soaked in fresh, dark blood. A small Winchester shell with an H stamp remained our only real clue for many years. After 6 years of silence, we searched thousands of files for a single parallel. In 1981, horror returned to the olive groves, finding victims sleeping in a tent. The canvas was slashed with surgical precision to deny the victims any chance of escape. He began a game with us, sending mocking letters addressed directly to the investigators. The clean cut suggests a killer with anatomical knowledge and a very steady hand. We watched the voyeurs in the darkness, for one of them had to be the true monster. The microscope confirmed it. It was undoubtedly the same Beretta used in the past. Florence was under siege as we searched every single vehicle at the nightly roadblocks. June 1982, in the fields of Baccaiano, only an abandoned bike remained as a silent witness. Amidst the grain, we found broken glasses telling the story of a violent struggle. We marked the crime scenes and watched him circling the city like a predator. In sterile labs, we searched for a DNA trace that would finally give us a name. Pietro Pacciani sat across from us, a man full of rage but capable of such cruelty. We descended into his cellar, hoping to find the murder weapon hidden under the debris. With night vision, we lay in wait in the undergrowth to finally catch the shadow. Why did this simple farmer possess surgical tools that didn't fit his life at all? He supposedly visits the graves, so we waited among the cold, ancient tombstones. The profile described an intelligent loner who hates the love and happiness of others. The flashbulbs blinded us as the press loudly demanded quick scapegoats. September 1985, we found only a pair of shoes as the last remains of a young life. We knelt in the mud, securing traces before the river washed the blood away forever. Deep in the thicket, we found a hideout that only a man of shadows could inhabit. We compared handwriting and wondered if he really could have acted entirely alone. In a dark alley, we waited for the informant who claimed to have seen the monster's face. We searched clinic archives for any doctor with the necessary surgical expertise. Occult symbols led us to a world far beyond the graspable horror of the murders. With roaring engines, we chased the lights, hoping this would be the final night. The cartridge box was empty, making us fear that his work was not yet finished. We looked down at the city and knew the monster remained somewhere down there. I slide the folder back into the shelf. The shadow remains, but the pain never fades.